EV level 2 charger. Let's go. Here's your material that you'll need. Hardwired EV charger, charging cable, wall mount for the charging cable. You'll need a breaker size to the size of your EV charger, how many amps you want. 90 for your conduit, some straps, and your hardware. Tools you'll need: impact, some kind of pliers, knife, and a screwdriver. Next, we'll start with taking off the panel cover. There's 6 screws in most cases. This one had 5, but I threw on one at the end that I had in my truck. Next, we're gonna knock out one of those perforated knockouts, size it to 3/4 inch. Take your screwdriver and your pliers, smack that thing out of there. And then we're going to make a little opening for our connector to go into. In this case, our 90 connector. We're gonna kind of trace it out and then saw it with our keyhole saw. Get a nice little hole there. Nothing too big, nothing too small, just right. This charger came with a straight connector on there, all right? We don't want that. So we're gonna remove this straight connector and we're gonna put on this 90 connector. All right, gonna kind of sleeve the wires through there. It's a little difficult, not too bad, but once you get the connector down to the end of the liquid tight there, you're gonna kind of push in and rotate. The thing kind of screws in a little bit. I was having a little tough time here, but we ended up getting her, no problem. All right, once that's in there, tighten her up. Then we're gonna fit it through our hole that we just cut and knocked out of the panel. All right, once we get that thing finessed in there, now we're gonna check and see where the nearest stud is so we can mount this EV charger template to. I'm also adding metal drywall anchors to places that don't have studs. On the left there was a stud. The rest are going to be these metal drywall anchors. Now I'm going to attach the EV charger to the back plate with 4 screws that comes with it. Once I get it secured, I'm just going to put a strap on to secure the liquid tight to the stud and its code as well. Installing the charging cable hook now to the wall to a stud so it can support the weight of the charging cable. So the wires that came with this EV charger were pretty short. They were about 8 inches long. Not long enough for me to get to where I need to go in this particular situation. So right now I am stripping the ends off so I can add a little pigtail of wire, a number 6 gauge wire to each one of the wires to lengthen them. So now I'm taping one of the wires green. It's going to be my ground. These wire nuts are rated for number 6 wire up to number 6. So I'm fine to attach these in the panel. Also, the panel can be used as a junction box as well per code, as long as you don't exceed the cubic inches. Just cranking those wire nuts down. I don't ever want them to come loose, so I always crank them down really tight. That way I never have any problems in the future. Tuck those away. Attach the green ground wire to the ground bar. And next I'm extending the 2 hot wires, the black and the red. I'm not going to color code the red wire just because you don't need to. They're both hot. The red and the black do the same thing. Each one's 120 volts. Don't need to color code it. This is a 60 amp breaker. It is only 48 amps charging, but since this is a continuous load, which is a load that runs for more than 3 hours at times, you have to take the overall load and times it by 125% to find your breaker. So in this case, 48 amps charging, times that by 125%, you get 60 amps, 60 amp breaker. Using number 6 THHN, it's good for these 75 degrees Celsius lugs on this breaker. It'll support up to 65 amps at 75 degrees Celsius. Next, I'm going to get this panel cover on, but before I pop this on, I just want to make sure that my lugs are tight on my breaker. Sometimes when you get to putting the breaker in there, it'll make the wires a little bit loose just from like twisting it and getting the wires in the right place. So I'm just torquing it down a bit just to be as safe as possible. Once that's done, I noticed in the panel I'm using an existing space where the hot tub was. So I'm just using some whiteout to cover up the old label in the panel that says hot tub. Once that dries, I'll be able to write over it. It'll all be hunky-dory. Little penmanship there. Finish off the job, and a job well done.